Most of the people losing their jobs to AI right now are not losing them because they don't know AI or they don't know how to use AI tools. I have spent more than 18 years in tech and consulting. Most of my time was spent at companies like Meta, eBay, and Twitter. And I have watched up and close who became more valuable as automation rolled in and who were the people who quietly became replaceable. In this video, I will talk about 5 non-technical skills that in my experience made the difference. And none of these skills require you to write a single line of code. For each skill, we are going to talk about what does it look like in your day-to-day life to practice these skills, and why AI agents find it difficult to replace these skills, and one thing that you can start doing now to start developing these skills. Now, 2026 is not the chatbot era anymore. Agents are doing real work without supervision, which means producing output is getting cheap. What's actually becoming valuable are the skills around the output. The World Economic Forum surveyed over 1,000 employers, and about 39% of core skills are expected to change by 2030. The fastest growing skill categories are not technical skills. They are cognitive and socio-emotional skills. Stanford looked at real payroll data, and they found roughly 13% decline in employment for early career workers in the most AI-exposed jobs. On the contrary, senior people or experienced people in the same job category, they either held steady or they grew in their roles. The difference was not the job title. The difference is that the skills that these people have stacked up on top of their technical skills. Let's look at 4 quick examples. Replit. AI agent deleted live production database during an explicit code freeze. And then it started giving misleading status messages about it. The founder actually documented the whole case on X. You can check it out. So this was a AI agent making a big mistake in a production database. Klarna replaced 700 support agents with AI. And then they publicly reversed course and rehired those humans who they fired. Commonwealth Bank. They cut 45 roles, saying that their chatbot had reduced call volume. Call volumes actually rose, and managers ended up answering all the phones. And then the bank apologized and reversed the cuts. None of these failures happened because AI was not smart enough or the models were not working. If you look closely, these failures happened because the human skills were missing in these cases. For example, problem framing, judgment, adaptability, communication, and accountability. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about in this video. Skill number 1, problem framing. The highest leverage people I worked with in big tech were not the strongest coders. They were the ones who actually could take any vague problem area and then turn it into a clear problem statement. Several AI studies show that if AI projects fail, these projects do not fail just because of the technology, but because of the misunderstanding about what problem the project was actually supposed to solve. And that is exactly the problem framing skill that people need to develop. So here's one thing that you can do to start developing this skill set. Take any fuzzy request from your client, talk to your friends, and think about what are the problem areas they are dealing with in their day-to-day lives, and turn it into a one-page spec. The documentation of the inputs, the edge cases, and what does success look like, that exactly is the right skill that you can develop for problem framing. Skill number 2 is judgment. Knowing what good looks like. When generating work samples is nearly free, knowing whether that work is any good becomes a rare skill. I've spent years reviewing machine learning outputs, various product specs, and it has taught me one thing. And it's this, that a model's confidence tells you nothing about its correctness. The quality bar comes from real experience, and that's exactly why it cannot be prompted. We can take an example of Deloitte, one of the big 4 consulting firms. It was actually one of my first employers too. So they shipped a $440,000 government report, and it had incorrect academic citations and some invented numbers, which were a result of AI hallucinations. Now, from outside, the report looked nearly perfect. And AI did not catch the issues in the report. It was a university researcher who actually found out the issues in the report. And that shows the skill here, which the university researcher displayed, was judgment. So do this. If you want to work on developing your judgment skill, take any AI deliverable or any AI workflow end to end and log every correction that you think needs to be made. That logging is the skill written down. Skill number 3, adaptability. Now, remember that we just discussed about the Stanford study, which showed that there was 13% decline in the field of entry-level jobs for AI, whereas more experienced people in the same category either held steady or grew. So the difference was in their ability to keep restacking their skills and keep learning new skills. And I've lived this in my career. Whether it was strategy analytics, enterprise data, cloud data technology, generative AI platforms, roughly every 4 years, I saw that the job was effectively a new job. And the people who treated relearning or learning as part of their job, they stayed valuable throughout every cycle. One thing that you can start doing now is block some time on your calendar and start testing all the new AI tools that are becoming available in the market. Not just read about them, but practically use these tools in your own workflows. Skill number 4, communication, and specifically high stakes communication. And this is one kind of skill that it's very hard for AI to replicate or replace. Let's take an example. Duolingo, the CEO of the company, they announced that they're going AI first. And they started phasing out all the contractors and started replacing them with AI wherever they could. A lot of users threatened to cancel their subscription because they said that AI first means people last. And the backlash spread across social media over TikTok and X within weeks. And then the CEO had to publicly clarify their stance. They said that AI would not replace employees, but AI is going to add value or be a complementary skill set for employees to have. So the technology here is not the problem, but the communication is the problem. How this whole messaging was communicated to everybody. So this week, work on developing your communication skill set. Have a direct conversation with your friends, colleagues, and talk about how AI automation can change someone's life. Ignore all the rumor and focus on the actual facts, on what is the ground reality of how AI is impacting and changing everybody's life. Skill number 5 is accountability. Let's walk through an example. So Air Canada's chatbot, they invented a new fare policy, which actually did not exist. And when the customers took them to the court, the airline argued that chatbot was a separate legal entity and it was responsible for its own actions. The court rejected the claim flatly, and they said, it's your bot and it's your liability, and you will have to take care of all the damages. Now, here's an important thing. Someone has to be accountable for all the AI work that is happening. So think about, as a business owner in your organization, you cannot just claim that AI did it and pass on the risk to AI. Accountability also means catching what the compliance software missed. For example, if there are biases in the software or what are the edge cases in the application. So one thing that you can do to start thinking about from the lens of accountability is identify one human who will be responsible for answering when the AI fails. And if there's no human next to any AI workflow, then that's the risk you are willing to take. So those were the 5 skills. Let me just summarize. Number 1, problem framing. Turning any vague ask into something very crisp and clear, which an agent or a human can execute. Second skill, judgment. Knowing what good looks like. Skill number 3, adaptability. Restacking your skills as the tools change. Skill number 4, communication. Handling the conversations that nobody can automate. Skill number 5, accountability. Putting a name next to every automation. And none of these skills need you to code. All of them compound. For your business, think about which of these 5 skills your team does not have or needs to work upon. And then start working on these skills, because these will be really hard for AI to replace. Tell me in the comments, what skills are you focusing on? If this video was useful, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.